In this video, we're going over agency tips for how to be a good and, after this video, a better leader, especially if you're an agency owner managing a team of creatives. A lot of the tips in here could probably apply, to different types of businesses, but I'm going to do my best to tailor it for agencies, since I think that's the majority of the people watching this. The way that we work at AutoGrow with putting out our content, Landon and I are collaborating on this article, put together some questions for me to answer so that I can best give you guys who are watching the maximum amount of value. So with that being said, let's get into the first question, which is, how do you describe your leadership style? Has it changed since transitioning AutoGrow from an agency to a platform? Yes, it's constantly changing. I'm constantly learning. At least at this point in my entrepreneurial journey, not just my journey, but the company's journey, I think right now I'm very hands-on because I want us to get a certain result and I want us to get to a certain level of scale. The thing that's unique about my situation as well that not every other founder faces is, number one, the company was bootstrapped from zero to multi-million-dollar business that it is today. And I'm very proud of that. Definitely made a ton of mistakes and had substantial success, obviously, to get to this point. But I think in going through that, and as a solo founder in particular, I think there are a lot of agency solo founders, as well as a lot of agency partnerships where it's like two people. And in those sorts of scenarios, it's really about being brutally honest with yourself about like, what are you better at, and that is ideally complementary to the other person. For me, I think I'm a natural generalist, so that is a blessing and also a challenge in and of itself. I love learning though, so when I started the business, I started out being a leader of one. I basically had started a freelancing business for the first project, and I quickly realized, as idealistic as I am, taking on this logo design project plus a website design, I'd be sketching on paper, I don't want to do it. I want to focus on building the business. So quickly I had to learn to delegate in that way, and went and found some people who were way better than I was in terms of graphic design and web design. So my leadership style is, I think, a combination of just really getting very hands-on to really fundamentally understand a problem. I try my best to be patient. I think sometimes I'm way too patient and with certain situations, and just getting better, I think, at removing people from the team, like the old startup adage or principle, hire slow, fire fast. I think that, just implementing that consistently would have made me a better leader, and it's something I'm working on being better at. And we have gotten better actually at doing it, just because our standards have raised, and so we've actually been better in terms of hiring and excluding those people who wouldn't be a fit. I think transitioning from AutoGrow as an agency to AutoGrow as a platform is one of the biggest changes. Is that we have a software platform. We have over 50 people full-time on staff right now globally. We're gradually starting to operate in multiple time zones. It's different because I do know everyone's name within the company, but it's different because there's a little bit less of a personal connection, and I do my best to keep it personal with as many people as possible, and just to show that I'm in the trenches, and just, I guess, setting the example too. Like look, I expect working with someone who's executing on something when I'm not directly overseeing it. If I come in and I help to identify a problem, it's something where I try to empathize first, and then if it's if it's not a systemic issue, if it's just someone maybe having poor judgment, then it's like, okay, well, look, this is not my role in the company at this time, but I think that you shouldn't have made this mistake, and here's why. Let's agree on a plan of action to make it better. And I think usually just trying to assume that it's always the system that's wrong first, or the workflow, whatever word you want to put on it. I think that the bigger the company gets, the more mistakes just you see every day, and it's like a cascade. And it's like, I think it's really tempting to kind of fall into a certain mindset of like, well, when we were this size, or back before, things were just simpler, when actually the company was just a different company back then. Especially with services, with being an agency, I mean, but it's like we have a quite complex business model. We have many different skill sets that we're managing and coordinating, a wide variety of people from many different countries, and then we have the software component on top of it. And we have to be really good, and we've had to learn to be really good about hiring and filtering. So I think that just learning to be willing to be more hands-on in order for the company to get a better result is one way that I've learned that, as a leader within the company, if you want to earn that title, you have to be hands-on, and you have to take I think, sort of a mentorship, teaching position. Try to stay patient to a degree, and assume that it's when things go wrong, which they do, that it's the system first and not the person per se. I think that's the best answer to that question. Something I'll continue to think about. I've never really thought too much about these questions, but they're good questions, Landon. Thank you very much. All right, next question. What qualities do you think a good agency leader should have, whether they're a CEO or leader of a specific team? What qualities do you think a good agency leader should have, whether they're a CEO or leader of a specific team? Yeah, so I think most agencies are actually probably typically small, like under 10 people, and maybe with subcontractors as well. The bigger, more established agencies with a physical presence, an office, probably bigger budget clients, and in many cases, very common, go up market as your agent in order to grow your agency. And part of the reason that is the case is because, as we know, AutoGrow providing a solution for agencies to help them to scale, it can be just easier to go up market rather than increase your headcount, because it's a lot of people to manage, and it's a manual, done for you service that you provide. So as you get better at your skill, you might just go up market and make new contacts, network more, learn to charge more. But what qualities make a good agency leader? I can say what I think really helped me, because I wanted to build something scalable and not something that could exist independent of me. There's a great book, I listened to it on Reddit, on Audible, by John Warrelou, called, I think it's he may have written The Automatic Customer, or the book I'm thinking of, though, I think is actually Built to Sell, which is kind of told in a story, in an allegorical format, where there is a founder, and he has his agency, and they do a bunch of different things, but he's excited by the idea of selling it, and it's about the journey from where he's at, where it's kind of chaos, and he wants to sell it to the point where it's not chaos, it's consistent, and it runs like a machine. And I think that should be the objective of any agency CEO. Of it's like the stress in terms of friends, family, personal, the pressure that you might put on yourself to succeed can be a lot, and the cost is something that people have to be willing to pay if you want to be successful. And I don't mean that necessarily in like a bad way. It's just there's a price to pay for anything. The question is, are you willing to learn what you need to learn and pay that price? So that being said, what I do think is just learning to have a systematic mindset, learning that you have certain biases and limiting beliefs that may hold you back, and learning to let go. Just let go. So for example, I think one way that I have let go is actually just with our company, AutoGrow. I was very against niching the business, and for years, because I thought, no, we need to build this massive brand, when in reality, the solution that we offer, while it's still relevant and we still have a number of clients who are not agencies, niching down to agencies, as is the very common tactic and strategy recommended by many different marketing strategists. It's cliche because it works, and because a lot of people don't want to do it because you might not want to limit yourself as a founder, or maybe there are other reasons. But that's just one example of a limiting belief that I had, that I think letting go of is actually helping the business to grow and grow faster, because most of our clients, or at least the largest portion of our clients, were already agencies. And so I think just operating in a way where you don't let yourself hold you back. and kind of just unlearning things. There's a great quote from Albert Einstein where he said something like, "True education begins when you forget everything that you've learned in school." And it's sort of true. Like, there's just another quote from Bruce Lee, using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation. So I think just realizing that, and this is another quote, I'm just pulling out of thin air here from someone else. Actually, I think it was the John Carmack, the creator of the video game Doom and Quake. He said in a recent interview with Lex Friedman, he said, it's not that you don't have to learn everything, but you have to be willing to learn anything. And you can learn anything by YouTube video, Google, ChatGPT is a great way to learn things, if it's still free, by the time you see this video. There's probably going to be other AI teachers coming out in the near future too. So as long as you're willing to have that, just a little bit of cognitive pressure that it takes to read, to watch, to absorb information, to process, to integrate it, to act on it, acting probably being the most difficult thing, but it is also the most powerful way to learn something, then I think that you're in good shape in terms of some of the most important qualities that you need. Because you really just have to think about what is your end result, and then think systematically. I don't want to say think backwards from that end point, because it's just not really how it goes. It's not a straight line to success. So just thinking in terms of how do you structure your agency, and that's what we did in 2017 and 2015, and then we retooled and relaunched again in 2017, and it was quite successful. We productized the agency. And you don't necessarily have to do that, where you have packages per se, but making it repeatable, having that systematic mindset, I think is really important if you want to be successful as an agency owner. Some people, if work is so fun to you, whatever you do for your agency, then you don't necessarily have to change. It's up to you. But I think for most agency owners, they want a day off every now and then. That would be a great start. So that would be my advice as far as leadership qualities, and understanding too that first and foremost, you are a leader of one, and if you cannot master yourself and overcome your own limiting beliefs, then that's something to work on first before you can, I think, successfully manage and lead others. Number 3, what are the biggest mistakes leaders make when managing a team of marketing professionals? I won't limit this necessarily just to marketing professionals, but it could be creatives in general. The biggest mistake leaders make I think it's really easy to fall into the mode of, rather than teaching, then move out of the way, just let me do it, or you're just kind of making the system work, helping the person's skills to improve, helping to educate on, here's how we do things, here's how we want to do things, and here's the reason why it's valuable to do it this way and important. So I think just being more logical in that way, or not being logical enough in that way, is perhaps a common mistake. I think it's really easy to become emotional and overreact when things go wrong. So I think, and really just, being comfortable with giving feedback and understanding that everyone is human and we're all learning, and also not everyone is going to be a fit. Some of the biggest mistakes are just not removing people who are not a fit on the team. And I'll even say, for example, and this is one of the benefits of AutoGrow actually, we have a team of great people who we've vetted, pre-qualified, and been working with for a long time. And we have a really great retention rate. And we do our best to train everyone and keep improving every single day. But for our clients who are primarily agencies, not everyone, but vast majority, because I think our solution again is most relevant to agencies. Autogrow.co if you're interested. Again, this is just one of the benefits. You don't have to deal with typical hiring headaches like what I'm talking about. But getting back to the point, being willing to remove people after it's clear that expectations are clear and communicated. I'll even give an example. We don't try to make AutoGrow a fit for everyone. We focus on, our strategy for growth right now is just continuously maximizing value, and we're adding new features every single week to the app to improve the experience for our agency clients. But oh, right. So the example I wanted to give was that, like, in the past, when some agency clients would sign up and we weren't as optimized and polished in terms of our onboarding experience as we are now, expectations may not have been set as well as they could have been. So clients might come in and expect, a perfect result with the first draft, and then when they wouldn't get it, they might think, oh, well, it's not a fit for us. But what we've learned to set expectations better in that way and show, like, okay, well, you get unlimited revisions, and let's make sure we have the right designer or copywriter or whatever on your account, whomever. And yeah, and I think leadership is the same way. It's a big mistake if you don't operate from that place of, like, understanding, like, okay, so even for me, like, being a client of our own service, where I'm delegating stuff to the team that is the internal team that's assigned to the AutoGrow account on a daily and weekly basis, I kind of had to be like, oh, okay, like, this is the right way to use it. Got it. This is the right way to delegate, to the team. And I think that applies to a leadership lesson for agency owners and founders in particular. Just making sure that you understand first, to use a cliche, before you are understood. All right, let's wrap it up real quick. Lightning round, last 2 questions. If it's a bottleneck in productivity, what should a leader do to figure out what the problem is and solve it? I think just go straight to the source. Go to the person, get on a Zoom call, screen share, talk it out. Just really get your hands into it and get your arms around the problem. That's the best way to do it. And just keep hitting on it, just like a hammer, just keep hammering on the nail until it goes in. Okay, this is the desired outcome. This is where we're at today. Why is there this gap? And be logical about it. And just keep interrogating the problem until you've got the solution. Finally, what should a leader focus on if they're trying to grow and scale their agency? I think I gave the answer to this earlier, so I will allow the viewers to take what I've already said and use it to answer this question for themselves. But something that can really help you to grow and scale your agency is autogrow.co. So I encourage everyone to go and check that out, autogrow.co. And we have packages to suit any agency size. If you want us to put together even a custom package for you, we can do that. Because some agencies may want to delegate, 20 plus active tasks at a single time, or larger projects and this and that. And they might need additional, staffing requirements, and we can grow with you. So go check it out, autogrow.co, and we have limited spots available each week. So check it out, book a call, and there's a demo that you can watch as well. Thank you very much. See you next time. Keep auto growing and stay focused.